Hello and welcome to episode 25 of the Sussex by the Sea podcast, a podcast about all things Hastings United. I'm your host Chris Laverick, and on today's show we have Rye Siegel. Rye, who's the matchday announcer at the Pilot Field, who also is the man behind Hastings Matchday Twitter, with an announcement that he'll be giving exclusive post-game insights into our women's team, who restart on the 4th of April. Also on the show we have a fantastic extended interview with Hastings CEO Billy Wood, giving us an update on the time kiln, signings for our women's team and contract extensions for our men's team, and some exciting developments in our social media which will make that pre-match experience a lot more fun. Enjoy, Hastings fans. Here's the master of Matchday Twitter, Ryan Siegel. So Ryan, I'm talking to you here this morning. You are the official Matchday Twitter for the Hastings United women's team.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you're the official. You're also the official announcer.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And here we have this an exclusive for the podcast. You will be doing a vlog or whatever we can get our hands on for the women's games because none of us spectators can go. So you're going to be doing that for the podcast, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I'm looking forward to bringing all of your fantastic listeners some depth and insight into the women's team.
Which is tremendous. And just so we're all clear, you're going to be doing this for the club as well. You're going to do a match report that's going to be on the club website, yeah?
Yeah, hopefully now we've got the new website up and running, that will all work smoothly, yeah. I'm
sure it will. And we know the lovely Adam Carter's on the wheels are still there. He'll make sure that happens. What's the Twitter, if for anyone that doesn't have it?
For the men, it's at Hastings UFC, and for the women, it's at Hastings UFCW.
What do you want us? Because it's going to be, you've got a captive audience. We're all going to be listening. Is there any sort of banter or anything you want us to throw in there that you can joust with while doing your updates?
Well, I guess it's an open question to throw to the fans, really, because, I'll do my Twitter. I usually have a few things on standby for every game. I usually have a number of puns I can throw in at any time.
Tremendous.
I've got 3 or 4 for when Lloyd Dawes scores his first competitive goal. But they'll say, I want to throw it back to the fans because if you're going to be following my updates, I want to make sure that my updates are for you guys because typically I have an audience when there are fans in the ground, but when 200 people who wouldn't be there want to follow the game and there's one way to do it, there's a lot more expectation on a good Twitter. So to all the listeners or to everyone associated with the club, if there's anything you do particularly want to see, if there's a style, if you want me to throw in a joke or something, just
a funny joke though.
Let me know.
Funny one.
Right, okay, that might be an issue for me then. This is a time where, given you guys can't be in the ground, I want to give as much back to you. I know reading Twitter can never be like being on the sidelines. I want to try and make that feel as realistic. And I want you to make you feel like you're part of the roller coaster ride that is football. So if there is anything I can do to make sure that the Twitter is as enthralling as possible, I want to hear it.
Good suggestions, Rye. Always good to get the fans involved.
The thing is, this is a club for the fans, I know lots of people say the fans make this club. When you look at the big clubs and they barely sell out, especially before COVID, we were getting 1,000 in this ground, which is fantastic. And the fact is, this club is, whatever you want to say, because I think we've got a very good boardroom, we've got very good people running it. The fans are what make this club what it is. The atmosphere on a match day, I think, is incomparable to most grounds I've ever been to because of the sheer passion. The fans are one of the biggest parts of this club, and therefore I think, especially when it comes to things like this, when we can't have them, they need to make sure that they feel represented and included in everything we do, because it's just not the same without them, and they need to make sure they know that.
Listen, right, absolutely lovely talking to you, mate, and slightly jealous that you're going to be able to, very jealous that you're going to be able to watch the game. I might report you to Boris Johnson. That's obviously a joke, because obviously who would do the Twitter then? You do a great service, and you are always entertaining on Twitter, and I won't troll you at all. So don't worry, there won't be any trolling during the game.
No, I'm going to wait on Willsey to do that. I reckon he's got quite a few saved up.
Yes. Yeah, we can't go there. We can't talk Willsey. And now over to Hastings United CEO, Billy Wood. So, Billy, talking to you here, there's been a ton of good stuff going on. And tons of stuff, tons of signings for the women's team. There's some extension of contracts to the men's teams, bits and bobs going on.
I think it's easy in the pandemic, in the current situation, no football and stuff, to get bogged down on the negatives. Really, it's quite easy to do that, or pick holes in where we're at right now because of it. But we've decided to look at it as a bit of a positive thing. So I'll start with women's football first, and the league there. By the way, I've got to give credit to Sarah and everyone at the SCWGFL and let everyone know how fantastic they've been and dedicated to getting football back. And it feels great that the women's game is coming back. We're going to be able to finish our first women's season, which it'd been, from my point of view, for us to finish a football season, which I've not had being here since 2019, I've yet to experience the end of a season at Hastings. It'd be lovely. So it's great to have football back. Right now, unfortunately, that's without supporters. I don't know if that's going to change, but that's what we've been told. Grassroots football there's no supporters allowed, and we will adhere to that, which is very frustrating. But the good thing is for the girls that have put so much hard work in this year, that they're gonna hopefully get an opportunity to finish off what they've started. It's a positive. It's a real positive. It's a positive for the club, that the club's name and their name is going to be out there on the back of the paper. Like I saw on the back of the paper last week, women's football's a massive. It was great to see women's football on the back of the paper, and I would hope with the women's team playing that we continue featuring very prominently in the Observer and also across the football spectrum. So on the women's stuff, I'm buzzing that it's back. It will help my sanity, but also it will definitely. I think it'd be great for the supporters, even if they can't attend, to at least catch up and stay tuned on what's going on something that's quite progressive.
Yeah, in terms of staying in touch, I mean, I haven't asked you this beforehand, so I don't want to put you on the spot. Is there any way? I mean, are you obviously going to have your Twitter? Regular updates for fans that can actually keep up with the game. Is there any way, I don't know, a radio or streaming or anything like that possibility?
Chris, I think it's something that we're going to be looking into. I'm going to try and speak with Joe Knight, who films our games, and I'm going to look at some streaming equipment and see if we can stream live to Facebook or something like that for the women's games. So I think it'd be nice. It'd be nice, you know. It'd be nice because there's lots that want to come up here that haven't been up here yet for women's football. And it'd be nice for the ones like the 200-300 people that we've been getting watching women's football to be able to still enjoy the journey, home and away. And I've got a production company that I also own, and I'm speaking to my partner in that production company about, because I'm not the tech one. I'm the ideas and
ideas guy.
Ideas and pass it on. And he's looking into it as well about live streaming, because we're revamping this block that I've put in at Hastings. Isn't just a fancy office for me. It's actually going to be a production suite, and the idea is that we're going to revamp our offering of the football club on match days. Actually, I'm going to give you an exclusive.
Go on, Billy.
This season we're planning to do like a pundit sort of live match of the day sort of thing at every game. So we're going to have a panel, a presenter and a panel, hopefully of ex-Hastings United legends or even pundits of the football game. And every home game, we're going to do like a live an hour before show, and then at halftime, and then at the end of review with like hopefully Chris, if he's in the good spirits, or Brownie or whoever will then we'll interview them after a game.
Nice.
Well, and we're going to make it a bit more of an immersive production experience that is definitely not seen at Associate Step 4 non-league.
God, yeah, I was going to say.
Barely seen in league football, which that's the one thing I've found I've quite enjoyed actually, is sitting there and watching a lot of like League 2, League 1, National League, when it was on the National League South. And whilst in leagues where we've got a journey to go on, as a club, we're not far. We're actually not far. And it's great to see that we can get there. And it's just little things like we've got to win games of football 100% to go up the leagues. And that's why you sign Chris to a 2-year contract and then, you know, get the players that you need in to get the job done. But everything else, we can get there, and it feels good. It feels right.
Oh, nice. Well, that's a nice development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's something that if you're here, you can still watch. You can, like, if you're in the bar having a beer before the game, like George and all that lot, they can sit there with their phones open and actually see the team news rather than seeing it written on the board, right? Which great, it's brilliant. Don't get me wrong, but I like the immersive stuff. I like us to be able to be a bit more modern. And also people to be able to walk past and see what's going on and just get excited by it. You know, some expected this cabin to be my office or some sort of VIP drinks thing or something. I don't know what they.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but this is going to, like, you know, it's going to be it's a daytime office for comfort projects, shall I say? Yeah. And then at games, it will be based around the exciting thing that we're trying to create.
That sounds really good. I can't see why anyone would think that's really good fun. Getting that match day feel. Yeah,
I've just now got to contact everyone to try and get them on the show. So I'm sure Terry White can be a pundit for 1 week. Bring people from the past back and sit them in a chair and they can have their say. Good, bad.
We've got to have heritage on there. I mean, there's a few absolute.
What we'll do is I'm sure Pete will come in on the pre-match. The idea is the pre-match will be a little more calmer. You know, it'll be
calmer.
It'll be what's going on, the team sheets, maybe some highlights from previous games, some interviews with people before kickoff, and then it won't be tongue in cheek, but it'll just be kind of just like a match build up. And then the idea is that half time and full time will be analysts. So there'll be a full analysis of what's going on in the game. So technology wise, things are going to have to move a little bit forward here, but we want that because we see ourselves as a progressive football club, and technology is one part of it, but also, like, obviously the women's stuff that we've talked about is a massive part of it.
Oh, okay. So this just got going slightly tangently. So you're going to be doing this content, which to me, absolutely brilliant idea. Well done, you. Would this be part of a Hastings United an on-demand service?
Well, we did launch one before. I thank for the people that have subscribed to it and been part of it. And it's not, in my opinion, it's not been enough. It's not. I'm happy to admit when we've not done something right. It's very easy to sit here and go, well done, look what I've done. But there's things that we haven't done right. And I think the subscription service, whilst it uploads games and has done the past games and the future games and whatnot, it's not for me, and it's not interactive enough. I think what we'll probably do is this content will be for free.
Oh, okay. So
we'll be putting it on Facebook, on YouTube, before games, and links on Twitter and Instagram. So we'll go live from those social accounts and start pushing it that way. For me, the most important thing for Hastings United Football Club is continually growing it in Hastings. I always said it's about trying to get 1% of the town. And now I think we've got 1% of the town. I think it's now going to 2% of the town, and then 2.5% of the town, and try and get and build it up. I believe with no restrictions on numbers, there's no reason why we can't have 1,000 people here watching.
100%.
Especially now, I think anyway. So So on that basis, the tech will be for free. It's an investment, personally, my end, not on the club. I'm going to take that personal investment into it, and it just be hopefully it'll be fun. Like that.
Definitely.
That's the thing. I just hope it'll be fun. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah.
No, that's and an exclusive. I love a little exclusive.
Always willing to give an exclusive now and then.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you. So moving on. So we'd say you've got the women's signings. We've got Holly Carter, Blair Hamilton, Georgie Tibble. How did you scout them, Billy? And who was, because I'm not completely au fait on the women's side of scouting. So how did we come across these players?
So with regards to women's football, when I was at Eastbourne United, I talked to Eastbourne. There was an Eastbourne team there, run by Phil Hawkins, Leanne Hawkins, and we brought them into Eastbourne United as Eastbourne United women. And that was not my first dive into. I watched a lot of women's football that season, so I'll go and watch a lot of their games, just to show support, really, for something that, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it properly. I hope people know that now of me after the time I've joined the club. If I'm going to do it, it's got to be all or nothing.
Yeah.
So I started watching a lot of women's games. Started just researching the women's pyramid more than anything else. I've always felt the women's game it's the most exciting growth area of the football landscape. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I want the men's team to continually go up the leagues and be competitive and us win things and us get into league football eventually one day? Yeah, of course. But the women's game for me is just as exciting in the sense that there's a lot of things undeveloped in it still to this day. Like we're talking today, and Sky and the BBC have announced the first TV deal, right? Which is fantastic. Really, this should have happened a long time ago, right? But it's happened, and that's great. But that's the exciting part of women's football for me, is that there's room for manoeuvre to grow in that lane if you're willing to put the time and effort into it. So I made a conscious effort on a personal level to spend more time understanding the landscape of players, how they play, who they are in the local area. We put a little list together of players that have impressed. So we get a list. Maybe they have to do it, so they can't stop now. But they give us a list of the players before every game.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a little look, and if we want to mark anyone down, we like. With the Georgia Tibble thing, it's an interesting one because she was a player that we probably was targeted for next season. Georgia's a fantastic player, a player that's, by joining us, is effectively, she's a step 4-5 player, really. And we're in step 7. She's a player that we would have targeted for next year, going into step 6, fingers crossed, to get us up to step 5. Step 4. But we felt with lockdown, it's probably a good time to put a 7-day letter in. So we put a 7-day letter into Eastbourne Town, which they duly allowed us to speak to Georgia. I spoke to her, explained where we want to go as a football club, because I think a lot of clubs you either have to pay subs or there's no incentive. That's not fair, but there's a lot more restrictions financially on a lot of these clubs, so they have to pay for kit or pay a sponsorship fee or whatever a year to get stuff. And that was the one thing at Eastbourne United, what we tried not to do when I brought the Eastbourne team in, was to try and give them what the men had. And I think that still goes on. I think Eastbourne United is still doing that, which is fantastic. But we do that here, like the kit, everything is the way they travel to games. It's on par with the men. Everything's on par with the men. And Georgia liked the sound of that. I think she was a little bit apprehensive dropping down the levels at first. But we explained to her, with all due respect, we might be in that level of football, but we don't want to be at that level of football at all for our front team. So she decided to take on the challenge and join us. And we're delighted. She's a very, very skillful... She's like an attacking midfielder. I would say attacking midfielder / centre forward, but can play anywhere across the front three. Oh, okay. She's got a great left foot on her. She's played with Molly and Rebecca Ralph in the past as well. So I'm expecting a lot of familiarity there. And she's an extra bit of class, not that we've been lacking, but needs for our progression.
Yeah.
She's got that pedigree, and she's someone that we targeted. And the same with Blair. She is very inspirational. If anyone reads Blair's story, she's incredible, the journey that she's been on to this point. And we played against Montpellier Villa, and she was the difference maker in that game. Molly won't let it down that she scored against Blair, but
well, that's always going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, she was a big difference maker. And what we've done is we've brought Blair in, and now we've got a really exciting moment where we've got two fantastic goalkeepers.
Yeah, I was going to say that we've got two good goalies now,
which we're over the moon with. And Shana's such a great influence at this football club, and it's great. Shana's one that will fight. She makes it very clear to the girls, you've got to fight for your shirt, right? That's her thing. She's a proper motivator, and she's Hastings. She embodies what Hastings is, and having Blair alongside her, I think will be fantastic for both of them, and will hopefully help the club. Competitions. Absolutely. What's going to push us forward, and we can't rest on our laurels. And Shana knows that, and Blair knows the situation too. So that one's bolstered us, but it also has created exactly the sort of thing we wanted coming into the not fresh start, but after the long break competition. Yeah, absolutely. And the third but definitely not least, is Holly, who's 16 years of age. She's been training with the first team for months on end. She's the one player that you wished she was already 16. We used to always say to her dad, like, is she really born in January or September? Because we need to get her, we need to get her signed up. Yeah. And she's held her own in training sessions. She's a good character, and I think that comes from a good learning at Lewis. She plays Lewis under 16s, but when she turned 16 in January, she wanted to sign for Hastings, and we wanted to do it then and there, but it just wasn't. Obviously, with COVID, we didn't know what was happening in the season. But she's now in, and she's a tenacious midfielder. She's really technically sound, but she's not afraid to put herself in there. She'll work incredibly hard. She'll win a lot of tackles, but she's also, like I say, technically she's fantastic. So for 16 years of age, her maturity as a footballer is brilliant. It's really brilliant. So we've signed 3 players and these aren't signings to bolster us for this season to try and get us promoted or anything like that. And we could target, I don't know, other players from Step 5 clubs who aren't going to be playing football now. But that's not what we're trying to do. Like, Holly's one that was in the system. Blair was someone that we wanted to bring in after speaking to Blair. And Georgia Tibble was someone who we wanted to bring in next season, but we just brought it forward. So I don't know. I think it's. I think we've got the right balance now. Are we all looking to always improve? Absolutely, we are. And we next year will have our development team actually playing league games as well, which makes it even more competitive. Yeah. So it's an exciting time. It's a really exciting time, not just for the girls that are part of it now, but I think the town, hopefully, we've built a winning squad. You don't want to jinx it. There's going to be, we've got to fight for that title still. There's some of the games are double headers. So thankfully we've got 24 girls in the squad now, which we're probably going to need, which is another thing to the girls that are part of the squad now. There probably is a level of, oh my God, like, there's only 16 spots in the team. There's quite a few of us. Like, are we not going to get games? And they might look at it and be worried and go, well, are we going to get minutes on the pitch? And it's down to them. They know they came in and they didn't come into a football club that's looking to be a social. That's not what Hastings United is. That they came in and were scouted or trialled to be part of something that is always going to look to progress. And it's up to them. Yeah. It's up to them, in my opinion, and the coach's opinion, to fight for their spot and then be part of it long term. Like, there's going to be some players that over time might not be ready for the first team or aren't getting into need minutes, so they might play development football in the future and then come back into the first team. And the biggest hurdle there is going to be attitude. But I believe we've got 24 girls in the squad. All of those 24 have the attitude to be able to do that. So I expect no toys out of the pram, like none, because they're such a great bunch. They really are such a great bunch. And they all want to win for each other and win for the club. And that's another thing that they genuinely, I feel from speaking to them, they love this football club. As we have as a club, we've announced that our commitment to women's football is a lot deeper than just putting a team on a pitch. I think with the women's statement, I think it was about putting it out there in black and white what we're doing. Because we have been doing it. There's no denying that the girls have been turning up on coaches to away games. And we get the first thing we get from the other managers is like, bloody hell, how'd you do that? How are you doing that? The only other team that we've seen do it is Herne Bay, and it's a coach at the club home. So it's a lot easier to get a driver and, beep, beep, off on your way down the road. And Herne Bay, I've got a lot of respect for Herne Bay. I talked a lot to the Herne Bay women's chairman and manager there, and they're a great little club. But we've already done that. So kit and stuff like that, and the quality of using the pilot field, and the same the first training facility that the men use, and all the things that's available for men's football, we've made available to women's football. But it was more of a case of us going, look, this is what we're doing at Hastings. Yeah, this is what we want to do over time. We can't sit here and say we're going to parity, we're going to pay men and women equal, because with all due respect, the levels of football, that's absurd, right? It's not going to happen. But that's what we want to get to. We want to get to a point where the men's are in league, in national league, potentially league football, and we want women's championship. There's no reason why the women's team eventually can't be in the championship or even in the WSL. Why not? First message I got this morning when that news broke was by a coach, a local coach, who messaged me, said, surely this is the ambition. And it is. The ambition is to go as high as we possibly can and back it. But to do that, you need to engage in the community and get them wanting women's football. Yeah. You need to engage with the kids, with the young girls that might aspire to be women's footballers, and catering for them and making them not feel like the spare wheel as the one girl in the mixed team. We want to have women's teams, girls teams. So, if there should be a under 7s girls team, under 8s girls team, under 9s girls team, and we'll try and do that. And we know it's not going to be easy, and you're not going to be able to do it overnight. Yeah. But what you can do is, we've got characters around the club, funny enough, like your Rebecca Ralphs, like your Sophie Reed. So Sophie actually manages an under 12 Sussex team at the moment. Okay. Yeah. And you've got those sort of characters that could help you build out that section, and they would. And I think that's the commitment for us, is about developing that and putting resources into that and making it a reality. And I don't know, it's not it wasn't a mission statement just to throw out a mission statement. It's something that I believe the club's been doing for a long period of time. Like, the first question I remember being in the clubhouse for my first Q&A, expecting to get absolutely battered by you fans, but one of the first questions.
There was a few of them that
I did get a lot of hard questions, but hopefully I answered them. In regards to, I think Kev Towner might have said it. Someone said it. They said, but the first two things I said was that we're going to go back to claret. We did. Yeah. As shown by what you're wearing, Chris. Yeah. And secondly, exactly. And secondly, we will start women's football. I was so shocked when I started digging deeper into it. I was so shocked on how they left, like 16 years prior to when I announced that. I was so shocked that it never got brought back. Like, so shocked. It bothered me a lot. So maybe I'm I'm obsessed with it because I didn't like the injustice of the whole situation. But we've done our bit so far. We've got a long way to go. But on that journey, I'm expecting success. Great stories of young players coming through. You know, if you look at it already, we've got 3 16, 17-year-olds in the team. An 18-year-old now, Izzy Payne, is now going off to America, which is a massive loss to the team, but it's great for her.
Yeah.
You know, amazing for her. And we've just managed to attract really credible players. And the exciting part is you would not believe the amount of top quality players that are now sniffing and seeing what's going on down here to be part of it. And it's not a case of us, we're looking just to whitewash it and just have a brand new team and oust the girls out. That it'll be an evolution as we go up the leagues where certain people will hit their point, and then they'll do something else at the club. And there'll be others that you think will hit their point who will step their game up and suddenly will rise with it. And that's going to be the exciting part for me, is to see the journey for the ones now part of it, see how far they go on the journey. Because that, I don't think they treat it like a social. Like that was the one thing that I was always said with women's football is, oh, well, you know, the girls just do it for a bit of fun, to a bit of escapism. But I don't think our girls treat it like that. I think they don't get me wrong, they get along and they are sociable. But I think they on the flip side of that, I think they know it's business. They turn up looking like the business and they get on the pitch and deliver the business. That's the difference at Hastings. From
the women that I've spoken to for the podcast, none of them sound like this is a social. You know, if I was to have said that, you got an email, by the way, Billy.
I'm sorry about this.
That's all right, mate. You know, if I was to say to Rebecca Ralph, "Oh yeah, right, love, I know you just treat this like a social," I'd get a slap. Yeah, 100%. And it would also not be true. Yeah, I mean, she's very, very serious when it comes to her football.
Yeah, she is.
I mean, from a humble fan point of view, you know, the games were well attended. This COVID has obviously messed everything up in terms of how we would like things to go.
Yeah.
But, you know, hopefully with this calming down, the situation calming down, eventually the fans coming back. I know the fans are interested.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, this is a sideshow, you know, that I can't think, everyone's embraced it. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, and as the Hastings United, but the women's team, it's just, and we support them.
Yeah.
That, you know, so it's exciting times. Obviously, Ollie Black, you got signed back up.
Yeah.
And we got Mr. Gary Elphick. Now,
yeah.
These are very good extensions.
Yeah, totally. I think, well, Ollie, we took an option up in his contract, so he'll be with us for another year, which he's happy, obviously. He loves being here. So there was no issues with that. I think the thing with Ollie's value to the football club has grown year on year, right? It really has. Because I actually remember seeing Ollie, I'm going to say, Ollie's going to hate this, but I remember seeing Ollie play a game. I think it was for Eastbourne United. I think it might have been just as I was taking over. Oh, right, yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Like, by the way, he was playing in a team that was so disorganised at the time. A mess of players getting thrown together to try and nick a point. And the poor lad just didn't look good at all, innit? And I remember coming here to Hastings and seeing my first team sheet, and I saw Ollie Black on the pen. What the bloody hell's Ollie Black doing here? Yeah. But the truth of the matter is, Ollie is such a consistent performer and has grown into such an important member of Hastings United Football Club that we saw it when he got announced, how many likes it got, the excitement it created, because he genuinely is loved by the supporters as well. And he's an absolute weapon with that throw. And I think sometimes that throw can take away from all the other stuff he does. Like, he's actually, if you look at some of the balls he puts through with his left foot,
Absolutely.
Some of them are unreal. It looks like
he's not just a throw-in at all.
No, he's quite a gangly guy, and you look at him, sometimes he wraps that left boot around the ball and you think it's going anywhere, but it pings straight onto the end of like Pope's feet or into the middle. He's been fantastic, and he's such a good defender as well. Like the amount of like interceptions he makes, it's very hard to get around Ollie Black. And if you do, you're going to feel it, because Ollie's going to have you as well. So
it'd trip you up with that third leg. But anyway,
exactly. That rumour has it. But yeah,
sorry, I couldn't resist, Billy. So
no. Well, we hear it every game, it's become It's a bit of an urban legend, that.
Yeah, it's that one, yeah.
Imagine if it actually turned out that it was actually opposite. I think the fan would be very disappointed.
It was a little baby carrot, yeah, no, but let's carry it on. Let's carry this on. Yeah, so moving on.
And Gary Elphick.
Yeah, Gary Elphick.
Gary is brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. He's a man's man, absolute man's man. Like we call him the Man Mountain because that's exactly what he is. And he's just such a character. Like he has just some of the antics that you hear about with Gaz, just has you in stitches. He's that sort of character, but also he's such a leader. He's helped Hastings have this like aura of invincibility. Yeah. I think anyway, he's that. If you look at him coming out the tunnel and you see him and Stoney and Ollie Black and Jake Elliott, if you're standing next to that, you don't fancy it. You don't fancy it. I think that's what they add to it. The goals conceded have dropped significantly since Gary arrived at the football club, and that's not a coincidence. So we're absolutely delighted that Gary's staying. I think Gary. I don't want to put words in Gary's mouth, but I think he loves being at Hastings. You know, just by his interactions with the supporters, even with us, and just the way he interacts around the place. I think Gary loves being here. I know he's coming to the end of his career, but he deserves that promotion with us.
Absolutely.
What a moment. I love it at the end of the games when he comes running along and does the old bowling ball thing to the crowd. And, you know, that's what it's about for me. It's about that connectivity. I think you can always have it in some way, shape or form, but we embrace it so much and push it out there as part of what we are. And that's what I love. And I think Gary adds that to the team, as well as he's the absolute, well, in my opinion, the best defender in the league, you know, 100%.
Oh, yeah, he's ridiculous quality. I mean, I remember before when we were sneaking goals in left, right and centre, but we were just scoring 100 more goals than they were. You know, it was always, you know, have we got enough? Have we got enough? Because we're always leaky. But as soon as he's come along, and, you know, the rest of the back four.
What a back four. Yeah. What? And Louis Rogers as well. Like, you know, Jake, Ollie, you know, we've announced that we've narrowed down 2 out of the 4.
I was going to ask about Jake because I did have a chat with him in the podcast.
Yeah.
He sounded a bit wavery, but you've got some good news for me, yeah, Billy?
I haven't got no news on Jake. All I can say on Jake is I think we all would love him to stay.
Oh, yeah. It's a long guy.
And because of that, because he's a good guy. Like, he's a great guy, great right back. I feel like he's become one of our own in the sense that he's really part of the fabric of the club.
Absolutely.
I think he likes being in. I think if opportunity allows him to be here, I think he will stay at Hastings United Football Club. That's my gut feeling on it. I might be wrong, but I think Jake, I think they all want to finish the job. I think it's one of those things, isn't it? Like when you're treated, because we try and treat our players well. We've looked after our players throughout COVID, and I would like to say that we're probably one of the only clubs that have done that. We've looked after them.
Credit to you and the team.
Well, no, credit to not me. Credit to the club. Like, credit to everyone, including Darren and Peter, that we've energized this club in a way that we can do that. We can do that without it being I don't know, like the perception is. A millionaire owner throwing around bags of money. That's not Hastings. Like that perception's so false. We've sustained a business now that we can do things like that. And we looked after the lads. And Jake, obviously, I believe he's studying again next year. I think might be going a little bit more further afield, but I'm sure we can try to keep him at the club.
Yeah, that's all you can do. I mean, you can understand. Yeah. You know, when I chatted to him before, old Jake, you know, who's just such a really honest and lovely guy, loves the club. But, you know, you can't, you know, particularly with what's going on with COVID and everything, you know, you got an education to think about. You got, you know, it's all sorts of things going on. He'd love to be here. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'd just bend his arm a bit, Billy. And
we'll try. I can't offer to get him a better grade. That's down to him. But, you know, one thing, obviously, we've not announced it because we don't really need to, but Tom Chalmers rolls into another year of his contract. So
very good.
He'll be here next season.
Excellent.
And he's obviously a fantastic player, Tom.
Absolutely.
He is one of our own and loves being part of this club. And he's someone that we believe in immensely at this football club. We believe in him. We believe in his journey.
Yeah.
I think he's one that will play higher, either with us
Absolutely,
or move on. I hope we can go up the leagues as quick as Tom Chalmers' development deserves. That's my assumption on it. But if not, then I think Tom will one day excite a team enough to buy him off us. Let's just say. I think that there's another announcement coming this week. I don't know, when's this podcast going out?
Podcasts will go out Thursday.
This Thursday is going out.
It's going out Thursday.
I can announce. All right, I'll just announce it on here then. That Jack Dixon signed as well.
Oh, nice.
Hang
on. I thought he signed for Hollington. That's what the internet said.
He's signed for a couple of games. And
I know. Jack Dixon has signed. How long was that deal, Billy? He's got.
It's a year.
A year extension, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Dicko he's a local lad, isn't he? He's a local lad that he loves his football club as well. He genuinely does. You know, you talk to him, about it, and obviously he was here with the cup run, the big FA Cup run. But I think he has ambition to try and get this club as far as he can before he calls time on it.
Yeah.
You know, he's a big character.
Oh, absolutely.
Club, and a big part of it. You know, his dad moans at me for the plastic cups all the time, which I'm going to change for next season. I promise him that. I promise him. We just had, when I arrived, there was probably a cupboard full of those cups, foam cups left. So we had to go through them, but we will change them next year. That's for Dicko's dad. We'll do that. Big character and a fantastic player. Fantastic player, and hopefully next season he'll have a big impact.
Well, I mean, I'd love to talk to him. I'd love to catch up. I mean, I've tried, but you know, he's either doesn't want to or he's busy. But
man.
I know he is marked. I know Matt the ref has marked it, and he's going to be referencing some of these Hollington games.
Well, I'm not surprised. So as long as Dicko don't get sent off and it doesn't affect us, I'm happy.
Well, exactly. There was talk of he might get sent off before he goes on the pitch. This is what Matt said.
Probably. If Matt turns up and sees Dicko. No, if he sees Dicko, he'd already filled out his match report, and Dicko's name will be on the caution list. That's for sure. But on that, I think the exciting part. Look, I have my own opinion on players dropping down to step 7 at this period of time. But with all due respect to the lads and the clubs, I think you can't hold it against anyone, really, because people want to play football for so long. And I think people want to play football. I think these clubs will probably, I think if I'm, I don't know, Hollington, Westfield, Sidley, and you're looking at doing that, then you've got to think about 2 things. 1, the players next year, but 2, if others are doing it and you don't, then you're not going to come out to compete. So you have to respect that element of it. And I've actually spoke to Scott Pricer about some of the signings, and he just made it clear that it needed some players. And he laughed. We had a little laugh and joke about what Dicko's going to think of the Gibbons, playing on the Gibbons. But I'm sure he's played there in the past, and it's not that bad up there. And it's nice. I think people got to realise Hollington as a club is ran by really some nice family people. The Husthwaites ran that for years, and Wendy, God rest her soul, was massively part of what that club's about. And some real good people there, and I hope they do well in this little run-in they have, and also I hope Sidley do well as well. And because obviously Sidley, we've allowed Sidley to use the pilot field for 3 games. Just as not really a favour, but they had a bit of an issue with where they play their home games now. It's getting work starting early on it because they didn't want people to come back. So I just said, for 3 games, it's not a problem.
That's good.
And
what's Simon think about that?
No comment. No comment. And I don't blame him. It's his baby, but we'll have 8 odd weeks where there'll be nothing on it before pre-season starts, and I hope he can work his magic. Simon is fantastic at his job, and he's the best in the business, in my opinion. And we're lucky to have him, but we also have to balance out sometimes doing things that are for community benefit over our own as such, and that's why we'll be hosting some of our academy early morning younger stuff on the pitch in that period of time as well, because we want the families to understand this is their home, and you know they should be able to touch the turf at some point as well, and this is their moment they would, because in a normal season, in a run-in, the only people getting on there are going to be the women and the men, and that's going to be sparse as it is. So we're using this period of time as a little bit of a reset button of us going, look, this club's for everyone. Come back to the pilot field. Here you go, sort of thing. And the Sidley thing is a favour, and they're over the moon about it, obviously. I think the manager said to me, he said, look, thank you, because some of our lads would never have had the chance to play on the pilot field, and it's going to be great for them. And you sometimes forget in this 100-year-old stadium, you look at it and you think, oh, it's a bit tired, and this, and we need that, and we need to do this. But it has got a unique sense of value to this town. And yeah, you know, if we can give those little moments to people, then great. And then hopefully for the following year, we can bring back all the East Sussex Football League Cups and end of season finals back at the pilot field again, which I love to do. So this is me actually publicly telling the East Sussex Football League that. And yeah, you know, we just want to embrace our footballing community. And I was going to, I can't now because no fans, but I was looking forward to going to like Westfield and going to Hollington, and going to Sidley, and just going around and watching some games. And obviously now I can't do that, which is absolutely gutting. But I'll be at the women's games.
Yeah. Well, you can go.
Yeah, I can go. Yeah.
You might see a few heads above walls. You know. That's
all right. Do you want me to leave the drum up? Do you want me to leave the drum up the top? Just it's up there, so you can have a little bit of a drumming session.
Oh, that's annoying. Well, actually, you know, you mentioned Westfield, and you haven't mentioned about the heritage and the Chris Agata playing for Westfield. I mean, what's your thoughts on that, Bill?
I've got no comment about that at all. That picture of Pete was from 1979. But you know, he looks younger now. It's mad, absolute madness.
It's got to be all of you, mate.
Yeah, and if Chris wants to play a bit of football, I don't blame him. He's a good little player, actually. Say little, not little. I think he's as tall, if not taller than me. But fair play if they want to play a little bit of football, and that's the thing. I can't knock anyone. I'm even gonna dust my boots off and do a bit of training with my old Saturday team.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're dreading me return, but I'm just gonna go and try and
get rid of people up in the air.
Get rid of this. Yeah, well, that's what I used to do, and get rid of this COVID belly. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh god, yeah, we've all got that. I mean, it's just a shame that we hopefully that they can change, that things can be amended, and that maybe later on in the weeks to come we might. Well,
they're saying, aren't they? They're saying April potential, the second part of the April announcement thing, that they might relax it, and that'd be great, because imagine on the 9th of May, which is the last game of the season for the women's team at home. We've got Montpellier Villa, who they should be the two teams fighting for the title. Imagine if we had fans in for that and they won the league. It'd be brilliant. It'd be great. It'd be absolutely great. And I hope that happens. And I'm sitting here and just I'm buzzing for the girls to be back, and I'm buzzing for the academy to be back as well, to be honest. And then before we know it, it'll be June. Aggie will be badgering me for an extra few quid on the budget, player in, and I'll probably say yes, and then we'll get them in, and then roll on July, and we'll have pre-season training, and we'll be ready for the season.
Oh yeah, 100%, Billy. I mean, we all want that. I'm a humble fan, but we just miss watching. Obviously, you guys. Well, not you. We don't.
Not me.
We don't miss watching you. Obviously, like talking to you, but in terms of the men's team, women's team, everything going on, it's just there was lots of good stuff going on. We've had a global pandemic, which has messed things up for us, but hopefully.
Well, the one thing I'd like to add, Chris, before we wrap up is number one, thank you first and foremost to our sponsors. Throughout this really tough testing period. no one's moaned. No one's sit there and moaned about sponsoring this football club in that period of time. And that is, from the bottom of my heart, massive, because it might be £40 a month, or it might be £100 a month, whatever, but it's so vital to us surviving this period of time. And I promise all the sponsors for next season, their efforts and what they've done for us so far won't go unnoticed, and we'll be able to do a lot more for them next year. And I'm working on how to do that, but we will. I promise that. And lastly, not just the supporters in general, because I think if you look online and the Facebook fan group and stuff like that, it has been immense, and the vibrancy and excitement is still there, and that's great. But I just wanted to single out the season ticket holders a little bit and just say to them, I just wanted to say to them how when I sent everyone an email, which I'm going to follow up with today on Monday today, but I sent an email a couple of months ago, just kind of saying I don't know what's happening. I appreciate you've had not enough games this year, and we'll do what we can to make sure you're catered for the following season. And I genuinely can't. Well, actually, I can believe it because I know this supporter base. But so many emails I got back of people saying, "Don't worry about that money, Bill. I'll buy another season ticket. Don't put that into the club. Don't worry about it. We won't." Because I said, "Look, we'll roll over your season tickets." But the amount of emails I got back saying, "Nope, I'll buy another one. This, that supports the club. Thank you so much for all your work you're doing, and this is our thank you to the club." And it was literally unreal. It was unreal, because it's one of those moments you think people find it tough out there. People are losing their jobs. Yep. And I know, look, we made season tickets incredibly cheap. They were £70, but that's not the point. It's the gesture of doing that. And it was unreal for me. So what we're going to do is we are going to put season tickets for next season on sale. There will be a period of time that season ticket holders this year can purchase. Some, I'm not.
So our season ticket holders get first dibs.
100%.
That's the one I hear, Billy. Thank you, Billy.
Yeah, but also, I understand not everyone wants to pay again. I get that, right? So the compulsory donating your money to the football club is not compulsory. It's what you want to do, or if you can't afford to do it, then we respect that. We're going to roll on your season ticket. So if you're a season ticket holder this year, you'll get the option to have a free season ticket next year, or like some have, you can buy it, donate and buy, which they'll still be at the same price. We're going to start at £70 for the first.
Well, that's ridiculously cheap, Billy.
Yeah, and I hope people continue backing this football club the way they have. And it really, you don't have to repurchase. If you are a season ticket holder, you can roll it on. And I'll be emailing everyone to confirm either way. So everyone will confirm either way. But yeah, the notion that everyone wants to support and do that, I say everyone, like the majority.
Yeah, majority will. Definitely.
Unreal, absolutely unreal. And it just shows you what this club's all about. And it's a massive thank you. And I'm hoping we can deliver you all as exciting 21-22. And for some of the older supporters, I really, for them to get back into the ground is massive, because there's a lot of stuff. I see a lot of them about. I bumped into Kenny Poe's dad the other day. I bumped into a few of the others. I'm going to drive over and see Sandra and Doug from over in Rye, who, by the way, and I don't think I've ever said this publicly, when they bought their season tickets, I drove over and gave them the season tickets and went through Doug's history, and he's got loads and loads of programs. Yeah. And we went, and I was sit on their doorstep having a proper look, and then I called them up. They called me up. So, look, if you ever need me, it's my mobile number. And Sandra went, "You should never give me your mobile number because I'm going to bother you now." And every time she calls me up, she goes, "Billy, I'm sorry to bother you." And I'm like, "Sandra, you're not bothering me." Yeah. And I would, because they weren't internet savvy, they're in their later years of life. And I always put tickets aside for them. And They came to one game with an envelope and it said thank you on it, and I thought it was a card. So I thought, oh, thank you so much. I've gone into my office, I've opened it, and it was a 4-figure check for the football club.
Wow.
And literally, I was in tears.
Yeah.
I was actually in tears because I went out and saw Sandra and I said, thank you. Like, you know, I know COVID, I get it, right? But I gave Sandra the biggest hug in the world, right? Because I was so overwhelmed by it. And she turned around and said, well, we can't take it with us, can we, Bill? And I was just like, I said, look, thank you so much. This really helps the club. And it's moments like that, I don't know. I was always worried that with the fans, that they wouldn't accept me when I first came in, being young and someone that they didn't know, and replacing a group of guys that were around the football club in and out for the last 50 years. I thought there would always be, I thought I would always find it hard, but actually it's been the opposite. I think it's been brilliant, and it's the icing on the cake for me so far into my reign.
Oh, nice words, Billy. Billy, just quickly, what's the latest on the time kiln?
So, we've got government elections coming up. I understand Mr. Steve Fulbert is actually running in that council election. So, good old Steve, yeah, he's running. Right. Yeah, I saw it on Facebook, so don't quote me on that. But so we've got elections coming up, which stop councillor meetings for a small period of time. So end of March, April, May. So it's slowed us, but great conversations with the councillors. There's been some real moments. All good. The MP, Sally Ann Hart, is behind the project.
Oh, good. Yeah, good. Yeah,
she's behind it. Wherever you agree with the political party, she's our MP and she's behind it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And yeah, the noises are good, and it's more a case of now driving this over the line. So our planning application meeting, we're waiting on the date because it was meant to be end of March, but with council meetings and with what's going on, it's now been pushed back slightly. So end of May date is expected.
Okay.
But everything else is good. Like, it's a project that needs to happen for the town, and that hasn't changed. The community use is there. The growth of facilities in our town is there for everyone to be seen. I'll give you an example. I called up Bexhill College the other day and asked them for an hour on their 3G. They're fully booked. There's no other 3G in the town. So, and they're fully booked forever based on that conversation that I had with them. So that email in itself has proven to me and shown the need for this project. Absolutely. So we've all just got to stop sitting on the fence and get on with it. And the councillors know it. They know our feelings. We've done everything they've asked. We continually do everything that they've asked. And yeah, I'm very positive. Kept the door open with local football clubs. I've kept the door. I've even embraced in new conversations. I don't want to say too much about that because it's not fair on the football club. Yeah. But I'm embracing that. I'm continually embracing others. Yeah. And that won't change. And I always like to find out why. And we'll dig in and then fight for the right things of this town. I'm a big believer of Hastings as a town. I'm a big believer of St Leonard's. I'm from St Leonard's. I live on the doorstep of Hollington. I'm a local that cares, and the Toll Kiln project has to happen for our town, and we'll get there. We will fight. I know for years, and I was on the outside for many years, and I'm like, this is taking forever. Yeah. But going inside of it now and being a real part of the conversations with the council, and because when I first came in, I kind of not stayed out of it, but I was just advising, and I let that kind of stick with like Darren, Peter, and Dave Nesslin were running with it. Over the last 6 to 12 months, I would say that I've really got more involved in that, and now on the back end of that, really involved and pushing this, and we'll get over the line. We have to for this town, not for Hastings United Football Club. It helps us. Don't get me wrong, which then in turn helps the town. But actually, if you take Hastings United out of it, this town needs it. But we are the facilitators because we are the senior football club in the town.
No, I know you've spoken about this before,
Yeah.
and it's a fantastic project. I mean, is there anything us fans can do, or is any? I mean, I know is it potential hold-ups? I know that our side of things, the pilot field. That I mean, is that like in terms of the residents?
No,
that's
holding it up. There's things that the council want that we have to deliver.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of going around in circles. So I think we've now stopped that.
Good.
The going around in circles is over. It can't happen because I don't know. It just didn't make sense, and I don't portray myself as the most intellectual or articulate human being out there, but
you do yourself a disservice, Billy. Get out, Billy. Go on.
But I asked the question to the council and broke it down really in simple, common, like I am way.
Yeah, what do we need to do? Yeah,
and it made sense, and I think that was a real light shed moment for everyone, and we'll move forward. And the good thing is, this is the one good thing. If there are any fears or objections, or what if we do this? Or what does that? We can answer them, and we can answer them honestly and openly, and the actual agenda's there. The agenda's there. It's actually so beneficial for our town, and that's the agenda.
Right at the right moment. I mean, COVID delayed, but like with everything moving forward, women's team, men's team, progression, it's just the right time. It all feels like the right time.
I think the biggest fear is people think that Hastings United it's all self-fulfilling in the sense that we're growing and it helps Hastings United. But what a successful football club can do for a town commercially, it can put a town on a map. It really can. And
absolutely.
You've seen it. Like, let's be real. No, if you say the word Burnley, what do you think about you think of Burnley
football club, right?
Yeah. And I think I think Hastings United can put Hastings on the map, and we genuinely can do that because we can become a league football club. If Crawley can do it, trust me, Hastings United can do it. And I believe the locals and the council will back and support the growth of football, the growth of sport and community use in our town, and allow Hastings United to grow, to really put Hastings on a positive stance across the world at the moment. I think we can do that.
Oh, brilliant. Billy, absolute pleasure, and thanks so much for your time, mate.
Oh, you're more than welcome, mate.
Yeah, you can answer those emails now, all right?
I'll try. I've got about 500 to go through now, so it's all good.
Oh, what? But now, Billy, take care, and hopefully see you sometime soon, yeah?
Yes, definitely, mate. Well,
right,
thank you for this. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, take care. Bye. And that's it for another episode, Hughes fans. Remember, as ever, if you want to contact us here or have any suggestions, please try us on Twitter at HUFC Podcast or on the email hufcpod@gmail.com. Also, there's a ton of video interviews and episodes uploaded to our YouTube, Sussex by the Sea Podcast. Please, please, please comment, like and subscribe if you can. It's all free. All that's left for me to say is, I've been your host, Chris Laverick. Hope you have a good couple of weeks and see you at the game. Here's a clue. I'll be hiding in the bushes behind the goal.